Alright, let's get started. Sassy Sassenach, hello and all that, everybody. I still haven't thought of anything better than that. I just had to stop my dog Bean from eating all the actual beans out of the compost. And today we're going to be salvaging this sleepy sculpt my sleepy self got up to last time. When last we met our heroes, I addressed the controversy over Mesmer and my model looking exactly like him accidentally. We didn't entirely resolve the problem, but you know, it's a work in progress. And for now, what I'm going to do is try to move on. I think actually the Riley themselves design is pretty close to just like the detail stage, which is the most fun stage. I need to figure out these arms and legs. I had a plan for them, but I didn't record it, so I don't remember them. I'm sure it will come back to me. These little armbands as well are a bit of an issue. Not entirely sure what to do about them while keeping them to the design. They should really not be the same design as the gauntlets or the shoulders because they're kind of in between, so it'd be nice if there was a third element I could pick on, possibly the shoes. It depends how they turn out. I like to kind of break up the styles in a similar way. When you're painting the miniature, you want to break up colours and not have two of the same colours touching. We'll go into that a little bit when we start painting. But for now, back to this. This is where I ended up with this, huh? This is what you're giving me, past Jack? Well, it's not bad. I can kind of see what's going on. Fitting everything in is going to be a bit of a challenge, I think, while keeping it to size. Now, where's the tail going to go? I had an insane idea that the tail might curl around the back here and then come around and be the lance. I think with all of this extra detail that we've already got these exhausts curling the whole way around the model. We've already got the arms coming around the back here. That's probably a bit too much stuff, just kind of curling and wrapping the model up, especially if this is going to be broken into pieces so that they can be sort of painted and assembled. Another idea I had was potentially what I want to add. I had a little look at our original concepts and added some extra stuff for the chair specifically. So we still maybe want to add some reference to a treasure hoard, to pocket sand. I do want these exhaust pipes. I was maybe thinking, you know, exhaust pipes on the face as well to give the face something interesting going on. An engine block somewhere would be cool, but I don't think we have any room for that. I really do want to put this like banana peel though. I think that's quite a funny indicator of, you know, cheating in a sort of wheeled joust. And of course, you know, I want it to look cute and cool, but I mostly want it to look cool. We'll see how that turns out though. I want to keep working on this face, but I think it would be a better idea to get an idea of where everything's going. So what I might do for now is get rid of these. I'm going to hide them, which means they'll still be there. I'm sure that's not going to trip me up later and get clipped through the model and I'll have to reprint the whole thing because I've got some random deformed spheres clipping through it. That'll never happen. I'm maybe going to copy these over and put them as the sort of hubcaps. I kind of said I wouldn't do wheel guards or hubcaps because it had given me grief, and that's definitely true, but I'm doing them. Let's just bring back the knight for a second so I can compare wheel sizes and remember to get rid of these again. I can bring these down a little bit maybe. And just generally bring the wheels down a little, I think. Maybe bring the head up. I think that was one of the things I was thinking of as well between our little sessions. So I'd bring the head up so that you can see all the detail away from the wheels. And maybe as a way of keeping it to have that sort of drag racer with the low profile, I'd open up the jaw. Yeah, that's not bad. I definitely need to make sure these wheels cannot move into the jaw. This was another issue with the moving wheels, is that they need to be clear of everything, otherwise they'll start catching on the details. So actually I'm going to build in the wheel guards now so that I can model around them and not have them surprise me later. And all that is it's a cylinder between them that ensures that they have clearance, but doesn't actually touch the wheels so that they can still move. Something like that. Need to double check that actually is clearance. Sort of. Because the wheels, you know, they're physical things, so they can sort of travel around a bit while they're rolling. This is the problem, is I don't actually know how to unhide quickly something in Blender without unhiding everything. If there is a way, please tell me in the comments. I can hide them on the menu here and unhide them there, but that means going looking for it. And I haven't been naming things, which I should do. I think you can name things quickly with F2. I always forget to do it. This is, oh wait, local. No, it's still kind of a bit weird. One thing I'm also kind of thinking of is replacing these with like a spoiler. We'll lose the nice winged effect, which is a bit of a shame, but I do kind of want it to be like this is a race car dragon. It's not just a dragon themed car. This is a living creature that is also a race car. So I reckon we pull the back down a little bit, then we'll get some clearance over this nice thing, coif. And then I'm going to need to look up a picture of a car because I don't know how cars work. Okay, so they are not really attached to anything. You just have these poles. Oh well, we'll see how it goes. Also, we'll stick with sphere style. Oops. My preferred sphere is 120 by 120. That gives me a decent amount of polys without having to bring in my Pal Den Topo. And maybe actually, crazily, we will use some cylinders here now. So I'm not entirely sure whether I want these to be organic looking or mechanical looking, or a combo of both. If we're having the exhaust horns and potentially exhausts on the nostrils here, then it is sort of a biomechanical thing or a cybernetic thing or whatever. Obviously, in lore, this is just a creature that roams around, terrorizing villages, like this wheelchair, which is, this is just sort of how you'd find it in the wild, with, some extra stuff put on it maybe. Oh no, this is the old version. See, this was an issue I ran into quite quickly. The old version, I tried to give it these funny sort of Sonic the Hedgehog spinning legs. They look a little bit like a swastika. So I had to change this. This just has the old wheels. They now have just a single horse leg. That looks a lot better. Let's just put those new ones over there, shall we, and pretend that never happened. I would like to think that people would know that this wasn't some sort of advocacy of Nazism from these models, but unfortunately you cannot actually guarantee that these days in the tabletop gaming space. No politics in my channel, no politics at all. There you go. Makes it a bit hard to judge the size of the wheels, but oh well. Off you go. And I'm going to get rid of those for now, so that I don't have to keep rehiding them. And by for now, I mean permanently. Extend these out. And I'm wondering, because I was thinking, do I have a flat spoiler with just sort of the ribbed bat wing kind of look at the back? But I could also do almost like the bat symbol, like two combined wings. I think that might be a better idea. Letting my good old pal sphere come back to play. Snake hook would probably be a better tool for this, but that's okay. What direction does spoilers go? It's flat, isn't it? Yeah. We also have those bits at the side that I could do instead, but I might just make it come down rather than that. Not bad. I kind of think I maybe preferred it before, but we'll see how that goes. When in doubt, add more detail, and then give up if you don't like it at that point. I am going to turn on my good pal though, so I think maybe this is sort of like a body bit. And how did we establish it here? It's all kind of coming out of the bottom. This is the overarching bit. Because this will join together, and I'll seal this together, I think, that middle bit. Maybe put a pattern on it or something like that, just to find these, I don't know what you call the fingers of a wing like this. To Google. The fingers, okay. A worthy diversion. Maybe model some separate claws for these tips, but maybe not. Okay, that's not bad. I sort of want to have the spine coming down into being a tail, but then it'll be going the wrong way and it'll look completely bizarre. Unless it comes up over here and just sort of dangles down here, which also might look completely bizarre. But I don't always mind that kind of thing, as long as it looks good bizarre. Is that recognizably a spoiler? Maybe. We'll see once we get the rest of the detail on it, basically. At the moment it looks a bit overly detailed and out of place, but that's because nothing else has any detail on it whatsoever. The spoiler's also held up quite thinly in the middle, which is good, because that means we can move these arms out of the way. I was going to have them be attached to the exhaust pipe, but perhaps we just move them behind the chair. Don't like moving them back out, because we're losing space again, but oh well. And I can always drop one of them. It's just that I've noticed that they tend to have sort of two in a kind of triangular pattern organized, rotating around the wheel, like so. Could maybe slim them down a little bit. I don't want to make them too slim because this model is going to be quite small. So I want them to still be able to hold up the spoiler, unless we're adding, a tail, like I say, something like that to compensate. We are potentially running out of room for banana peels, which is unacceptable. So we'll have to see how that goes. I'm going to work on turning these into the wheel guards next, because once I've got those and those on, that's a decent amount of detail. Clean up the face, clean up the body, add these exhausts in, then we'll have most of the detail that we want. Sculpting everything with one tool, because I'm lazy. Mistakes into miracles, that's how we do it, baby. Get this done fast, because I've been very busy lately. Stop singing now, because I don't want folk to hate me. Sorry, I don't know what came over me there. That's a Sasquatch thing, really. Did you know that song was the first language? They say that our appreciation for rhythm comes from the sound of our mother's heartbeat when we're in the womb. When we're in the womb. If you can hear your mum's heartbeat while you're just in the room with her, call the doctor. Make sure your mum's okay. But as I was saying, that can't be right, because Sasquatches aren't placental mammals, as everyone knows. And we're actually the ones who invented song. So explain that, scientist. They can't. Scientists famously have difficulty explaining Sasquatch. I've confused myself with these mirror modifiers, and I'm going to have to... Okay, too many modifiers. Anyway, I shouldn't talk about Sasquatch stuff so much, because I got a real caution from the the council last time. But I don't really seem a big deal. It's like worrying that you showed your nuclear plans to the dog that lives at the gas station. No offense. I know there's a fair amount of humans who watch these videos. And nowadays it's not really PC to make fun of 4-dimensionals. No politics, no politics. That's not bad. I could get rid of these front hands though, because I did kind of like the idea we came up with one of these times that the dragon wheelchair is secretly a Wyvern wheelchair and doesn't like to admit it. And for those of you, I'm sure you all know, but a dragon has 4 legs and a set of wings, traditionally. Whereas a Wyvern, like a bat, the wings are the 4 limbs, the front limbs, and the legs are the back limbs. So it only has the wings and legs. It doesn't have any front arms. And I did like that idea, and it does give us a little bit more room here. But it does also take away a little bit, I think. The thing is, as I've unfortunately found out, drag racers don't seem to have these hubcaps at all. I want at least one set of legs. So maybe for now we get rid of these, just have the rear ones. I think I am going to shrink these down a bit. Just a little. Just a little. Sorry, I'm British, so British even. So we think it's really funny to say things in accents. I deeply apologise if you say little. Oh yeah, never put a wheel guard in here. And that gives us some nice structure to the back. Move this in a little bit, because we can always pose the arms around the car. See how much space we can conserve here. Doesn't need to be too much. Like I say, I don't really mind, considering it's unlikely, although not impossible, that these models are all going to be in one set, these new ones. So I don't really mind if they're a bit bigger. Plus would be cool. I do want that kind of front spoiler that the drag racers seem to have as well, but I'm not entirely sure how to do it. If it was the head that was to the floor, I could have it be sort of whiskers or a moustache, you know, as some dragons have. What's going on there? Why are you moving? Oh, you've moved a lot, huh? Must be mirrored onto the wrong thing. Let's mirror onto something that doesn't move around. Thank you. So yeah, just for argument's sake, let's say, kind of like the thin closed mouth as well, and it gives it more of a drag racer profile. Although I also don't want the face to be too close to the floor, otherwise this thing won't be able to roll over things, because the face will keep getting in the way. So let's pull this up a little bit. Seems like not every drag racer, so this one doesn't have it, but this one does, and this one does. It could just be, didn't really mean that. You know, little whiskers or something. I don't hate it. It looks weird, but I like it to look weird. I'll think about it. I might do that. Don't want to go too far into that so that I can't, there's a limited amount of undos. I don't want to make it so that I'm stuck with it. Let's just do a bit of detail. There's a little reward after mostly figuring out the car. The underside I leave fairly undetailed because, you know, what kind of freak looks at the bottom of a toy? Please do not look at the bottom of these toys. Fighting for my life with the impulse to make them look scary. If I do have the spoiler, I won't have room for the exhausts, but I think that's okay. What's going on here? It's gone funny somehow. Sure, I think that's better. It's just a bit off-center. Still kind of is. These horns I'm going to try and do with a fancy curve modifier, and I'm probably going to get annoyed at it, but let's see. So one of the things you can do is you just create these simple curves, then you can add mass, I guess, geometry to them. It's the proper term, but you know, you can bulk them out, you can make them actual things. I need to not just mess around with this willy-nilly. And what you can do really cool stuff with is array things along their length to create really complicated shapes or chains or cybernetic pipes, things like that. But like the rigging, it's something that just, some part of it always goes wrong for me. So we'll see how that goes. Well, we won't, because I'm not going to be doing that, hopefully. I'm just going to be doing something very simple. And I think part of what goes wrong is because I always just scale the curve like this, which I shouldn't really do. I should be going into edit mode and scaling it that way, but I don't want to, and so I won't. I just want to live a simple life, scaling things in object mode. Thank you very much. That is probably why these are so giant though. Sure. So extruding here with E. These red lines are what give it its curve for each of the segments. And they're massive, presumably because I did the whole scale in layout that I said I shouldn't do. So we've got an extra component here, it looks like. Something has gone awry. That bit's fine. Maybe I just didn't delete one of the extra bits that I made. Let's do it this way, perhaps. I'm not very good at knowing what dimension I'm rotating in, but I know I want to constrain it to a dimension. So red X, I think it might be. But I want to make it come down and go across, rather than the way it currently is. So what I do is I pick these 2 points, we subdivide them to create a point in the middle. We might need to subdivide them again, we probably will. I want to get that nice flat line that I had before everything went so wrong. This is difficult to see, so I'm going to make it so that I can see the curve. That would be very helpful. In front, there we go. So let's subdivide again. Where's my subdivision? Don't know why I did there, so I'm going to undo it. Oh, there's an extra point here. Let's get rid of that. I've been making mistakes all over the place. This is probably why curves don't work for me. There we go. Scale it down to make the curve a little sharper. Subdivide here again. Move this down. Rotate a little bit so that it's going straight. Yeah, that's better. That's more or less the curve we want. Don't want that. Yeah, something like that for our exhaust. And this part should be pretty simple, hopefully. So we click on the curve, geometry. I'm not sure what my scale is here. Yeah, 0.1 meters is fine. Fill the caps so that this is nice and filled. Make our resolution a bit higher so it's nice and smooth. Wish we didn't have this kink. I don't know how to get rid of that. At least not in that menu. I think we can get rid of it, but just, no, makes it worse. There we go. Oh, and remember to turn fill caps on again. Or maybe make it a little bit bigger. That's 30% bigger. And I sort of want, yeah, sort of want it to come out to the side so it's a bit more obvious that it isn't just that part of this. Yeah, I like that. It's clipping into the legs here though. Let's take a hold of this whole line so that it stays nice and in line. Don't want it to come over the guard because we don't want this wheel to be able to interact with it. So we might actually move this in. That little unsightly bend should be mostly hidden from view. Still needs to come out quite a bit though. And then hopefully this comes back in because it just needs some clearance here. Once we're at the top, it doesn't matter so much. Cool. Nice. Now we have a bit more of a sense of the actual size of this thing. Still very big is the answer. So is there any extra size we could get rid of? It's mainly the front to back size that's the issue. But to a certain extent, that's kind of difficult to get rid of without compromising our beautiful dragon head here. Maybe we do return to our original plan of it comes up and back, but comes down. But I just don't like it. I want it to be big and long. And it might have to be, as long as we leave some space for the feet. And we can do that fairly easily. Oh, it would be cool. That's something I should add. I'm going to add that to my list of things. It would be cool to have like a speedometer that was like, I don't know, an eye or something like that in the back. If this is going to look a little bit like the kind of cockpit. It's so much longer. I wonder what the longest one of them is. Let's see. Those red squares mean there are some errors in the model because these are just different parts stuck together. They're not the actual model as I would print them. For some reason the mermaid's fine with it though. Or merperson. I think it is the knight who's the longest one, which is slightly concerning considering the scale of this car by comparison. Let's have some fun and just check. I haven't actually scaled this yet, so I'm going to have to make a bit of a guess here. Body-wise, that looks about right. Okay, so it's quite a bit longer. It's actually shorter, although actually it was a little bigger, wasn't it? Although we'll see. We'll see. It's a little longer, but like I say, these are kind of special editions. I don't mind them being, the scale being different. And also, at least before Riley's giant tall hat is added, they're not that bad. The chair is shorter because it's leaning back. Yeah, I'll keep it for now. I don't think we need to worry too much about the scale. And that lets us be free and just do what we want, which is nice. So what else does this need? I think we still need Riley's bag of tricks somewhere. We need to sculpt out a chair, make sure there's enough room. Oh, these have ended up as part of it. Let's just double check. What's better? It's hard to say. I'm undecided. These wings, once I've sorted out the exhaust at least, would give me the space I need for Riley's bag of tricks and it wouldn't interrupt Riley's giant noggin. It's got the drawing there as well. Quite so much. Although neither does that actually, and it gives the model quite a nice profile from the front. Yeah, I'm going to keep those. They're also just a bit more original, you know. Wing spoiler is a bit more interesting than just wings. So, these wheels could be made a lot smaller. Would that be worth it in any way at all? Because compared to something like the Elf's wheels, they're huge. The Elf has the smallest front wheels, but I haven't scaled Riley. I really should have scaled Riley, because yeah, I don't have any clue. But looking at Quinn, even scaled down that small, they're still quite a bit bigger. Or are they? I'm going to make them a little bigger, because I want to have some nice clearance from the floor, so that there's lots of room to move. And speaking of, let's move the body of the car a little bit, and also make this sort of indentation, so that I have a bit of a sense of where the figure goes. Maybe the wheels are encrusted with the cord. It's got sort of coins and gems. I think that might be fun. That would give me an easy way to put them, and an easy way to figure out what to do with the wheels, which is always my least favourite part, unless I liked it on the Mermaid, where they were like rubber rings. That was fun. These lines and stuff don't really matter, because once I've moved everything together, I'll be able to smooth over them after I've remeshed. How easy to snap off is the spoiler going to be? That's why I'm concerned about them. How to get some more space by moving the spoiler without making it really easy to snap off. What I would normally do in these situations was add something else touching it, but there's not. Could do it with the exhausts, if the exhaust sort of came all the way up here at the back and out like that. Maybe if there's multiple exhausts, which I was going to have. How are we attaching these? We've basically got a bit of a premium on space at the back here. We've got to attach the arms around the back, potentially, unless we squeeze Riley even more and add them as kind of thighs here, but I'm not sure we could do that easily. Considering we've got this amount of width, I could always just move the wheels out a bit, because the spoiler's already giving a lot of width anyway. Then, has that solved any problems? Who knows? Nice, so I remembered my scales. So you can confine your scales to one of the axes, but I always have trouble remembering what axis is what, so X, Y, and Z is what I want. Because yeah, how does this attach to the chair? It will need to attach in a couple points, otherwise things will get strange. I'm just going to add everything I want first, and then we'll figure this out. Getting what some might call over-designed, but others might call genius. Now it's giving it a contact point, which I just took away. These need to be further from the wheels as well. Because when I do the axis, or the axle, or whatever it is that runs through the wheel and makes it spin, I'll be leaving some space here, which also means that they can travel up and down a little. So I need to make sure there's enough room, they're not clipping into this again, and same with side to side. So it needs to be a decent amount of space. I think as long as these are simple, this isn't going to overcomplicate the design too badly. I think maybe these should be a different shape though from the rest of it. Maybe these will be cuboid or something like that, just to break it up a little bit. Now, can I think of what scale this is? Is it X again? Yeah, well, X is one of them. And Y? Yeah, okay, so this way I limit Z, because we don't want anything to do with Z, or Z, I suppose, whichever you prefer. It's possible my granddad wouldn't appreciate me using the American Z rather than Z, but you know, how does your ABCs rhyme then? W, X, Y, and Z. Right, replacing these with cubes, because also we're in desperate need of figuring out what exactly is happening here. But we're getting there. It's the same when I'm painting as well, actually. Getting the basics down is the bit I'm like, and then I'm always desperate to start the detail and the fun phase. And because I think it's like the phase where I'm like, well, we're nearly done, and then it takes me hours and hours and hours and hours, but it doesn't feel like it. I really want to make these real rather than curves so that I can cut the insides out of them, but I shouldn't do that just yet. But I'm an impatient Sasquatch. I want to get things done. I'm not sure I like don't know whether I like this. Don't like that, that's for sure. Kind of wonder whether to give them more detail or less. Should definitely save as well. I haven't saved in such a long time. I'm used to everything auto-saving these days, but Blender doesn't, which is sort of good, but also sort of not. Although it does kind of have an autosave, it just hides it from you and pretends it doesn't. Because yeah, that gives it a little bit of extra detail, but do we want extra detail? And that will slightly reduce the structural integrity, I think. If you are an engineer, please comment in the chat. So I'm trying to make that up by adding an outie segment here to compensate for this innie segment, but you know, is that misguided? I think these should probably be lined up correctly. And I would like if the angle was a little bit more distinct on these two. It's just sort of too much stuff. I'll just have one. My local orientation's got all messed up. How does it not know the local orientation of a cube? Come on. Or the normal. Okay, something's gone very strange here. I refuse to take responsibility for this. You sure that's the way the normal's facing? Who knows what I've done here? Okay, change of plans. Can't even undo all the things that I've wrought. Okay, I'm going to just get rid of these because something very strange has happened to them. I think possibly I rotated them in edit mode, so it messed up their rotations. One of the very fun things about Blender that takes a while to get used to at the start is kind of doing things in different modes has very different results. So all the things that you're doing in edit mode aren't really applying to the fundamental model, but the things that you're doing in edit mode are, even if they look exactly the same on the screen. Which mostly doesn't matter, but it does matter sometimes there. So let's see. Yeah, so you can see here, my local rotation is now matching up with the cube. My normal should as well, yeah. And I seem to have forgotten that the entire point I did this in the first place was to make these things thin, so that's why there's these extra exhausts supporting them. So let's make them nice and thin. I'm hungry. Someone bring me some food. Put some food in the comment for me. Yeah, increasing the rotation solves some problems there. Sure. Why not? Still looking a little weird, but much better, I think. We need a license plate, obviously. Otherwise, it's not going to be roadworthy or joust-worthy. And he joins the, well, they join the wizard as having a license plate. So it's already been established in the lore. Whoop, what did I just do there? Don't know what happened there. Glad it is undoable. And it's not just all my models gone. This license plate is probably a bit too small. Oh well. Cute. And we'll desperately try to remember to do the license plate, because I'll do that at the very end once I've made everything fit together. because I'm sure you can do it in Blender, but I haven't figured out how to emboss text in Blender. It seems all the videos are like 30 minutes long instead of just opening it in 3D Builder and embossing it like that with the emboss tool. I sort of suspect this hasn't entirely helped my bag situation though. Also, we don't need to delete the wings, but let's just move them. What other things can we just move? The front wheel guards, we're not going to use those probably, but I want to keep them around. And these. Has anyone commented any food in the chat? So hungry. But we're closing in on the end now, so it's going to be one of those times. And by closing in on the end, I mean we've got quite a bit to do, but it feels like we're near the end.
In fact, it was not near the end at all, leading to a cliffhanger ending so exciting it might be physically damaging to wait for its conclusion. A Sasquatch and his dog on the verge of starvation. A living dragon wheelchair on the tipping point of overcomplication. A miniature poised to become so big it is no longer a miniature at all, but a maxiature. Brave viewer, can you stand the suspense? Can you click the like button? Can you click the subscribe button? Can you hit the Sasquatch on the bell? And can you open your heart and your wallet and support these children and donate to helping them live a full and mobile life? Exactly which way up should the dragon's head go? What should go on the wheels? And will Sweet Bean the dog ever be fed? Find out on the next exciting episode of Making a Mini.